Hello, welcome to the Friday session of Mrs. Hewitt's Spelling at Home. So today I have got this word for you, hind. Okay, so this is our root morpheme today. Hopefully you'll be already thinking, I can kind of guess what that means. Your word study knowledge has been getting good. So this is from the Proto-Germanic. So this one doesn't come from Latin, okay, which I don't really know what effect that has, to be honest with you, but it's not in as many words. Okay, it's not as common as some of the other roots that we've been looking at. And also, because it's not from Latin, it means that it has different prefixes that can attach to it, because Latin root words have Latin prefixes and Greek root words have Greek prefixes. But if we've got one from Germanic, we are more limited in the prefix that we have. So not so many words are going to be built from it, basically. So we have got hind from Proto-Germanic hind, which mean from the Old English hinder, which means back. Okay, so basically, if it's something relating to hind, it's to do with back, like behind. Okay, so all of these words are going to do with back. So get ready to pause your video and I'm going to pop the morpheme grid up to the screen. Okay, let's see what word sums you have managed to build. So the obvious one, and a word that you use a lot, is probably behind. Okay, so we've got behind, literally being at the back. So if you're behind somebody, you are further back than them. Okay, and that's kind of one on its own there, behind. Now, a lot of our other words here relate to this, hinder. Okay, if you hinder somebody, it means that you kind of make them do not as well. You're a bit of try to think of another word to explain it. A bit of a problem. You hamper somebody. You maybe mean it means that they can't. You can pull them back a bit. So if you hinder somebody, it basically, you're basically kind of making them not do as well as they should. So you have hinder, and then we have hindering, because it's a verb. So you hinder somebody, you're hindering me. And then we have this, which is a hindrance. So if you are hindering me, you are a hindrance, means you're maybe a bit annoying, stopping me do all the things I need to do. A hindrance, we have hinder and ants, but you can see here that this goes together to make hindrance, and that E actually goes when we assimilate that together, and that'll be just from speech over time to go hindrance, hindrance, hindrance. Okay, it's just kind of the more you speak, those words have got shortened, and that vowel's just disappeared from the language, basically. So we've got hindrance becomes hindrance. Okay, that's the only spelling rule you've got to notice today, really. But that's a good word if you want to, especially in your story writing, if maybe someone was being a bit of a hindrance, that'd be quite an advanced vocabulary word to get in, and it's one that you might see in your reading as well. So we've got hindrance. Then we've got these ones. So we've got hindsight. So this is like a compound word where we've got two kind of main morphemes together. Hindsight, sight obviously being seeing, and hind being behind or previous, back. So if you say, oh, in hindsight, that means like looking back on it. If I had known this before, so I might say, in hindsight, we would have, I don't know, locked down earlier if only the government had hindsight. Okay, but so hindsight is to do with looking back on something and talking about maybe how you might have done something differently. Or you could say, in hindsight, I did exactly the right thing, because you're looking back. Okay, so hindsight is looking back. Hindmost does what it says on the tin. It's the most backwards. So like the hindmost horse is the horse that was at the back, basically. Okay, and then you've got the hind quarters, and again, that's the quarters to kind of do with living, or it could be on animals. They're kind of split into their legs and their front bit, and the hindquarters of the back bit of the animal. But that's basically to do with the back quarters, so the back half of something, the hindquarters. Okay, so they kind of are self-explanatory, mainly because they are from the Germanic, which a lot of English is from. So it's not, you don't have to translate it as much as you do with the Latin. But they are our words. The biggest word, and the one that's actually on one of our Key Stage 2 lists, is hindrance, and that's the one that you need to kind of remember to spell. Okay, so pick a couple of them, maybe pick behind and hindrance and maybe hindsight, and see if you can write some sentences with them. That's it for the week. I'll be back next week with some more root words. Have a lovely weekend, and yeah, I'll see you next week.